You know, as long as you got the right hotkey. Now, I'm going to buy at the market right now. This is the last possible rally of the day on the euro. We've been through the ringer here. Hard up, blew through, you know, just making history there a little bit. And complete rip back. Now, the way I would trade that for a scalp is I have my hand on a sell stop key, actually, because I don't know how far this is going to go up. So I want to get filled. And I am running sell stops at this point. Sell limits in front, but everything else is not sell to market. It's all sell stops because there's a first autofill as this cuts back on the 1 minute. And I'm hitting a whole bunch of different styles. Some have scalps, some are tighter. And you just have to sit here and just hammer the key because you don't know how far this is going to go up. To some regard, you don't know how far that's going to go up. I try to put a better grid on that. But the spread is 0 with this broker, this evolved market. So, okay, so I'm looking for one little last gasp into the end of the day. So we have a half hour left, one little pop maybe. That's all that's left in this market. Pretty ruckus, pretty outstanding moves all the way to, this is a 20 pip grid, 20 pips above the round number. It looks like we're one last blast here into the close of the week. Set up on the 5, maybe one bounce to here. Not too much of, not too impossible given what's happened today. Now, here's all the buy stops you could have been running on hotkeys in the 5. You could stack up buy stops. You could do that because unless you're going to pull the trigger at the market at this top, become a bottom before the explosion, then what's the point, right? And hopefully you can see tops become bottoms. If you're running it, you have a double top becomes a triple top becomes a bottom. Okay, now this is like the last possible rally today. And it might take out the high today before the end of the day. It's insane. Okay, this thing's pissed off. And there's no way around it. So we're going to scalp into the close, into the high of the day. And that'll be it. And I have to be careful. The sells now, I'm actually going to sell into the top of this now. I don't think, I'm going to sell from here all the way up now. I'm going to sell into the end of the day. I'm going to buy here, but I'm going to sell up into it like this. Put sell limits up here. Hand drop those, and then I'm long into it. And it's out of control. I mean, it's very bullish. It's about as bullish as it gets. Look at this shit. Come on. Look at the 15 minute. Look at this, baby. Look at this. Look at the run on the way there. There's like one last price pulse, maybe in this left in this thing. I don't even know. Pretty hysterical. 20 pip grid. I think. I don't have the right grid. I don't mean I have the right grid running, but I think I might have fucked that up. Okay, we're at the round number. The next one up is, yeah, that's 20 pips here. It's 20 pips. We can make it another 8 pips is what I'm looking for now. Just a bum rush into the close, possibly into the top of the hour. And that'll be it for the day. Call it a day. Call it a week. Call it a year. I am eager to sell, though, next week because I think it's just a little bit overdone. Put a fork in it. In fact, it might just crash right now. It might rip back right now. So I did put pending buy limits and I have pending sell limits above, starting at for the close of the today here. Because I mean, it could just get all squirrely here. Just back off. It's been quite the run. So we put buy limits below and we put sell limits above, and there's nothing else you can do. The extension of that is pretty amazing. Now, look at this run, just a consistent churning, ultimate trend at the end of the day. Ultimate smoothness of that move. Just classic. Now it could sell off. Now it's kind of dojied out. Could go either way now. So then maybe that was it. Because look at this 5 minutes crushing back. We get smashed back. I think maybe had it. Quite a move. We'll wait for the end of the day here. Okay, so we're making a run for it here. We have 15 minutes left. Try to bum rush the exit door. Try to get up on that. And see what kind of drama we get here at the end of the day. Possible blow out the high and just keep going right through the roof. Like some psychotic, anything's possible, right? I'm buying it on limits on this pullback. We just got the update on the 15th, so I'm going to buy at the market now on the 15th for a possible bum rush. Up. Countdown. Huge possible burst. Take out the high of the day right now. Waiting for Godot. This broker just stopped trading. That evolved markets. They just stopped trading. We're still going up. I'm sorry. This guy just stopped trading. Everybody just stopped trading. What the fuck? Bank holiday. That's another reason why the market's so brutal. Okay. Here we are on the 5. We're waiting for one last price pulse up. Right. Well, that was kind of weird. They just stopped trading. Okay, we're trying to take out the high of the day still. One last fell swoop into the top of the hour. Back to the 220 line, possibly. One last move. This is the day into the close here. Last 6 minutes. Oh, I pulled it back, so that didn't last. That didn't last too long. So it's going to get all squirrely at the end here. Here's the 1 minute chart. There's 5 bars left on the 1 minute, and there's a hole here. And they've been wicking into these. If you had limits here, you'd be buying the breakout point, retest the breakout, and maybe one last price pulse up, or just rip down, shred everybody's brains out. It's kind of hard to say. We just wait for that. Okay, the spread just went catastrophically wide here. This is some unknown broker that I don't even... Some broker out of Sweden. I don't even know what's going on here. But the spread is just psychotic. But we're trapped right in here. I'm looking for the bid to hit 220 or better in the next 4 minutes. We're going to make a run for it here. Going to take out this fractal. That'll be the Williams fractal. Take out that hump and see if we can just do a blast north. Okay, sellers just came in there. Didn't last too long, I guess. 4 minutes left. I'm just watching the bid. The spread is catastrophic on this broker right now. So there'd be a lot of antics. I could get a 10 pip a pop here, possibly. just on close. There we go. Okay, maybe take out the high of the day if we're lucky. Very brutal last closing. You could just go skyrocketing. Take out the high of the day. I'd say it's a high probability in some regards. May not want to wait. Start selling now. Okay, I'm going to start getting out here. I don't know if we'll make out the high of the day. Give myself time to get out. Okay, so I'm flat. I've got a bunch of pendings in here, though. Gotta get rid of those. Put a bunch of pendings down at the bottom. So here. Got about 2 minutes left to take the pendings off that. So we did take out the high of the day. And now they could just wipe the map. That's going to be the close here is going to be kind of sparky. It's going to be one hell of an opening on Sunday night. God knows what's going to happen then. So, almost feel like putting a trade on just before the weekend though. So, if you have any scripts here, or just buy here, put some orders like this. So. Just before the close, I'm sure the brokers don't like when you do this either. Just throw an array of orders in here in case they spike that down for some reason. And it's crazy on the close. The broker goes offline a little bit. So, yeah, we didn't take out but it was a nice ending to a spectacular trading day there. It's absolutely insane. Probably the most volatility in forex. And I don't know if it's bank holiday coming up. Banks are closed. God knows. It's just literally historical prices. More hysterical than historical. Okay, we're still waiting for the close here. 15 seconds. I think it closed right around 122, it looks like. Just a good old pause there. Starting to form a triangle. Already forming the triangle here. 5 seconds. So it didn't blow out the high of the day, but we did get the high probability bounce Rooney there at the end. So, if you're up for it now, selling it, I sold into this thing at the market. Now I sold in at stops actually. I had limits in there, and I had a hand on the hotkey. So as this is roaring up, I'm hitting sell stops underneath. Same thing when it's smashing down. Now, not when the spread's like this. This 6 pips is too wide. But here, see, look at all this drifty. It just keeps drifting and tiptoeing. This is an incredible trend. It's literally an incredible trend. I mean, as far as trends go, it's classic. And it's hard to believe because, well, I think this is the reason. Well, this is a great trend here too. But all this choppy stuff, after all this is choppy, then you get a smooth move. It's like this maybe there's not as many people trading. Or maybe it's just drifting. So there's all this psychosis, and these are amazing trades too. But who's trading this? Is the guy that traded that the guy that trades this? On the 5-minute chart. Now, you have to be up for everything in this 5-minute chart. And you can make a living trading the 5-minute chart, but you got to be like in and out, in and out. You got to range trade it. In and out, in and out. Then you're like, holy shit. Now, this is a laborious trend. And you wouldn't trust this trend after all this. Like, look at this spaz move. I think this was 3 p.m. or something. So look at this drift up. Now, mind you, the whole time this is happening, it's cutting in a new high. So this is a big deal. Every high is a new high here. And look at this failure here, but look at that window. So all day today I was running these shallow, really close to the market, 15-minute orders. Broker's not too angry at me yet. And I just keep on hitting the keys. And so I'm trading at Starbucks. And their internet goes out. And I had to use my hotspot. My hotspot's barely able to run MetaTrader. I'm like, Jesus. So I was in the coffee shop long here as we drift out. I had to drive home. Had 40 pip take profits up here. And I had sell reversals here. And I went away. So I drove home and looked at the market, and I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, they're churning north of 2160. Incredible. But the party's over. I mean, that kind of partying's pretty done with. I mean, look at the 15-minute chart. Now, at this point, we're talking no-brainer to sell up here. Anything up there. Just place the orders wide and make them another. Prepare for, as soon as the volatility heats up, you're on guard. You're like, okay, this is a 20 pip zone. And always the time frame you can afford to trade, that you have the time to trade, is the best time frame to trade. Now, the 5-minute chart, it's not rocket science. If you buy only when the market goes down hard down buy, hard up sell, hard up sell, this is a signal to sell, in my opinion. This is all you need for a sell signal or a buy signal. Look at this drift down. Now that is a 10 pip beautiful drift down trend. More pips, less time. That's the 5-minute chart. You know, the 5-minute chart is a real gold mine if you're willing to pull the trigger every 5 minutes. Or wait to get filled. If you have buy limits sitting here, you totally made money on that. I'm presupposing the spread isn't this brutal, but even at that brutality level, you would have made money. So if you carry this out to here, top become a bottom theory is in play there. You know, structure leaves clues bullshit, but it's more than that. You've got to have fucking fat orders in here to scalp that burst. Because you may not get the whole move. It just may not happen for you. So here's a top become a bottom, but not in, only in that wick, not on the so you have to prepare for more than one ticket there. Okay, geez, here. So here's your window. Here's the top of that. So that you'd have actually have buy limits like this. Here's your buy limit. Oh, jeez. This is how you're getting in there, real heavy. Now it doesn't look that heavy because you could put about 40K in there and not duplicate any of the prices. You fix the scale and you drill down to this and you look at this event, and this is quite astounding. If you think about how many tickets you could have had in here, it's just mind-blowing, isn't it? No duplication in price. And you only filled on this top. You're prepared to buy, and look at the stop hunt. What a classic. On the 5-minute. You need to buy that. And it's down. So I was streaming last night and somebody said, well, you know, you're not using colored candles. Yeah, why bother? I mean, it just freaks my brain out. I mean, that red-green stuff, I'm like, holy God. It's bad enough this thing's red and blue. I wish this was just... There's got to be a better quotation machine than this. There probably is something I'm missing I could have on my chart, some indicator. I guess I'm just used to looking at this stupid thing, and whether it's blue or red, it's so stupid. I just care about the fucking price. There's got to be an indicator. I could probably grab it somewhere. That actually is disturbing right there, red, blue. But hey, look at this thing. Now on the 15, look at this thing. There is no fucking place to buy this puppy. That was wave 4, wave 5 minutes I get, right? ABC corrections coming. Now it's going to be crazy. Crazy next week. Daily. Look at this monthly now. So coming up into this on the monthly, you're cutting into this wick already. But that's the closing prices. Now, it's going to take some work to get up there. I don't think. I think anywhere along this 20 pip grid, I'd be selling it. Now that you made 20 pips off the top of that, you made about 20 pips off the top of that. If you had sell limits up there, right? So if you got the position right on that, you definitely made that money. We made it all the way to what was the high water mark here? 22. Is it? Yeah, 22. 20 right there. Well, 20 pips above. Almost to the 50. Yeah, that's quite a run, isn't it? 22.17. But 22.18 depends who your broker is. But the thing is that look at this 1 hour chart. My God, man. And so if you just got the sizing right, in other words, you put in the right size for how much money's in the account, you definitely made money. But you had to anticipate serious craziness to come. And this is the weekly. And right, so here was the threshold. That was a 20 pip psycho window. And that was just outlandish breakout. Now that's a real breakout that really worked out, but there was still a trap built into that. Right, there was still the initial trap here, right there, where we're just double top. Well, here's a double top, pull back, and then this is supposed to be the structure failure here, and just totally insane. And here's the top becomes a bottom on the collapse down into the hole. Then it accumulates down here, underneath, under the water, under the floor. So if you go ceiling floor theory, right? Here's your ceiling. Mountain becomes a valley, becomes a mountain. First I'm a mountain, then I'm not. That song. And then this blistering trend where it's just in 4 hours, kablamo, come in and invade this area, pull it back off of that wick, pull it back off that. Look at that trap. So that's your entry window. It's not too hard, is it? The hard part is seeing that that's even possible. And here, you would have sold all the way into this and maybe put your orders, you're anticipating insane, unknown, in other words, depending on how it goes up. Because if you go to the smaller time frame and look how that happened, there were times here, right, where you your pendings, had they filled, you could cash them out. So if you had 50 pip stops on a 1K to make 50 pips, and you lay them 20 pips apart, 10 pips apart. This is a 10 pip grid on this one. So if you put them in 20 pips apart, you only filled, you risked about 20 bucks or something. Now, of course, if you had more money, you'd have your pot, you'd say quarting off this area that you're going to sell. And you could pick Fibonacci. It's not going to matter. What's going to matter is the ratios are good. And see here, they would just crush. There's really no retracements that happen when you sell up here. Now, this first blast into new highs, there is psychosis that appears naturally, and that is the first time we step into this window of just really out of bounds. Let me mark off the rooftop. Now you can see these happen on the 5-minute charts. And you're like, oh my God, this thing's about to, like, here's the trap, come back, boom, boom, boom. And you on the 5-minute chart, you'd be pulling the trigger on this pullback, or you'd have your buy limits packed in here in a 10 pip window. And you're going to risk, say, 8 pips to make to here, right? Maybe you're going to exit here. Maybe you do have, in other words, if you compress the order for the sell side, for their stop. Okay, let me see here. I got to kind of redo this a little bit. Okay. Let's make this wider. So your exit's like this, and you're going to enter. So this is your scaled exits are spread out wider, and this is your, and you can just hand place them. Just keep putting orders in here. Now you can put about 55K in this window. Put 55K in there. Now that's the thing. I don't know how to write these drops so they become a tenth of a pip apart. So there's got to be a way to make them higher res, because then I can make them, now this is logarithmic, I can make this, and I don't know if I can make it point so many pips apart. I'm going to try that. Can't do it now, because you could put precision drops in there, and you could put like a 20K in here at the bottom. It's possible you could put 20K in there, and then you would, or this is a 10 pip window, you could put a 3K in there like this and just keep overlapping that. You get a 3K here with a stop at the bottom of that thing, and you're going to cash out to here. So inside this thing, if you're going to drop orders into here, you have to be very wide, and then the same amount of money, you can just place the orders 10 pips apart. Here you can put the orders a half a pip apart, and the ratios would stay the same. So you have to have that in mind, because if you put a swing trades in here interlaced and then you just cash out of them, so what you're doing, this is actually what you're going to do is, what I do is I just put orders in there. And then if I have my hand on to take profits and I'm up, I just get out. Because it's gone through my ticket, I'm not looking to hit that target. Those are the end of the world stops for a swing trade. But if I want to treat it like a scalp, because the wheels come off the market, I'm like, well, I would swing trade that, or I can scalp it. I can go either way. Not everything. I'm not a good swing trader because I have no patience. But I would swing trade if I can scalp around if I can scalp, because I feel like, well, I got money to blow on a swing trade. I've padded the account by scalping and trading at the market, and I'm doing all the hard work, babysitting the fucking chart. Pull the trigger on the 5, buy, sell, buy, sell. So I'm selling now on my tablet. I was selling really heavy this morning. When we went up, I was in a short, and the news came out, and it just blasted me out in profits. But I just couldn't believe. I kept on maintaining a short position in about a 7 pip range there. And they would stop me out occasionally. But I was amazed because on the tablet I had the scripts written with very tight stops. And I literally, sometimes I couldn't believe I was making money because I'd packed so many orders in. There were different scripts than I run on the desktop. So that's been a big mental shift. Because trading in the desktop is really serious, but you can be over trading if you have too many trade plans in front of you. Now on the tablet, you kind of reduced to live inside of the parameters of a trade plan. So this is the thing, you backward engineer trading, at least I do, backward engineer, because if I want to risk $5 or $20, I know exactly how I have to arrange the tickets to get tagged for X amount of dollars. And I also know that I'll be trading at the market. So I had the pendings there, and then I trade the market on top of those pendings. And I just trade the Eurodollar. So it's kind of easy to plan for scenarios. Now, selling at the market is just like buying at the market. You've really got to say, okay, man, it's up here. Let's sell one. It just smacked up hard. Like, I mean, you're maybe there for it, maybe you're not. This is why the pendings are ideal. The 15-minute pendings. I run the 15 minutes. I think a lot more 15-minute scripts because I don't want to have lingering exposure. In other words, the whole idea of a half hour or a 15-minute script is that your exposure is limited, but you can get more ridiculous with the orders because since you're spending less time exposed to the market, you can have more elaborate scenarios. If the market's just spiked down 20 pips in 15 minutes, that's an amazing ticket. Now that happens in these markets. So if every 15 minutes you're dropping a 15-minute script, that's insane. It's 90 pips deep, some fucking crazy shit. Now you'd say to yourself, which I have, Jesus Christ, I wish that order was still there and it didn't disappear in 15 minutes. And that's when I'd say, that's when you put in a 4-hour order that is 20 pips spaced apart, or a 2-hour order, or a 3. Now you got to pick what you perceive as possible. Now today, in the last hour of trading, the market went berserkoid. So even the 15-minute scripts would have, if they're too densely packed in there, would have gotten wiped out. You have to think about the spacing. Now here's a 40 pip script, and we could have run this today. Now, so everything I talk about in here, the reason I'm usually trading and throwing scripts in there and they just don't make sense, is because if you really had to make money with these scripts, you'd have to say, well, I'm going to risk $30 to make $40 here. This is a 5K. I'm going to drop this, cover a 40 pip range, and I'm going to start layering those up into some void. And you might be underwater on those, holding those underwater right now, depending where you place them. But they're traps, and it wouldn't make any difference. I don't think it should make any difference. A 36 pip range here, 10Ks. So you're spaced like, I don't know how far apart here, but pretty tight here. I think 36K, I think it's like 5 pips apart. See, I can't do the math on this stuff to save my life. You're like 4 pips apart. 4 pips apart on a 10K. Now, placing that order takes some thinking, and I wouldn't go 8 hours necessarily. So if the news is coming out, and maybe this is a 15-minute script, can you imagine? now you can have this placed 400 pips deep for 15 minutes. Then you have ultimate control. You can do very ridiculous trade plans if they last 15 minutes. And I mean, all these 8 hours. Now, I don't want anybody to think that they have to be 8 hours because it's so dangerous. If you put too many of these orders in, you're just going to fucking... This is $50 of risk. You could really easily not pay attention and put in... I've done it. Put in too many orders. So I've done it on demos, done it with real money. When I first wrote scripts, I had that problem where I got so giddy about the idea of the script that it just, just boom. And living inside this 15-minute window is the trick, because then you're allowed to this is where you're allowed to you don't have the danger. Now, my tablet at Starbucks, I can launch a script and it lasts for 15 minutes. I walk away. I'm like, 15 minutes. Can they go 90 pips in 15 minutes? Can the market dive 90 pips in 15 minutes? This is the whole trick of the game here. It's like a bullfighter, and you got the markets coming after your order bank, and that's the trick. And so if you want the script to last 5 minutes, the news is going to come out. So 10 minutes before the news, you drop a 15-minute script, which means that script is going to only exist for 5 minutes when the news comes out. So you're really scheduling exposures. That's what I'm doing. Now, it seems weird because it's like scheduling appointments for your personnel, but these are your soldiers, these tickets, these orders. In my opinion, this is the device you're going to use to make money, is your order, your ticket. They call them tickets in there. And what is the parameters of each ticket, and how many... like if you're really lazy, you're probably just going to trade less tickets. And you're probably going to not trade like I'm trading. You're going to probably be more selective, like, I only trade in the morning and I could try to catch the move, and, okay, I'm going to do this, and maybe put 5 tickets in or something. That might be actually a lot for somebody. But, I'm hitting a button that puts in orders literally for 15 minutes, like with real money. I'm going to buy 2, 4, 6 pips deep with 8 pip stop, maybe master stop. And I'm literally running the script thinking to myself, it's hilarious, because sometimes it won't fill, but if it does, and they fill it and it crushes down in, I'll launch another one of the same script, because it's double clicks on the phone. And what's happening is I know exactly what that script looks like in my mind's eye, and I click it and I drop it, and I'm out in front of the market. Now, the thing is not to wait for the market to move hard, then do the same script, or a slightly deeper version. Now you can name them shallow, deep. So I'm almost ready to do that. I did that in the beginning. So I was like ICT. I had turtle soup scripts, But I had Bigfoot. I had Super Ball. I called it Super Bounce, which literally that script was designed for scalps built into it. It comes down, it ricochets off the floor and actually engulfs. The targets are above the entrance. So they're buy limits. Market comes smashing in the first. Well, here, let me describe it on this this whiteboard thing here. So here's what was going on. So this is what I'm thinking. It's easier to do this than it is to stream it, because I'm not very interactive with the chat there. People say, "Hey, look at the chat." I'm like, I'm just too focused on babbling. I can't, and I feel bad. People are asking questions and saying hello, and I feel terrible. Like I can't. There's no back and forth. It's just like, so here's the thing. I wanted to get into this. I guess I'll get into it now. This orientation situation. Here's the market, the current prices here. And this reminds me of what Mark Douglas did a seminar where he said, okay, put a dot on the piece of paper and draw a circle around it. And he said, well, this is everything you know about the universe. And he says, but there's a universe out here. There's more out here. In the market, you're sitting here and it's like, oh, geez, where's the, I guess I'll just go for a new page. I don't know how to delete. So you have, like right now, the market's here, wherever it's at. So the market just went like this, and like this, and like this. Now, the last known prices here, and on a MetaTrader, it draws a line all the way across the screen. And have you ever seen a forex chart? It's pretty weird. It's something from NetDania, whatever. And so here's the situation here. And so we've gone up, and you could even see the top bottom here. And here you just have one of these little baby dojis. But you can create your own. And there's perfect scenarios like that last trend where it's just a beautiful, like it was almost like the most idyllic, just amazing, right? I mean, like a stairway to heaven with not even, just this. I mean, hell, on the 15, it was like this. And that was closing prices, 1 period moving average. And the reason why moving averages, in my opinion, are ridiculous because they're lagging behind and they're just fucking your brain up. Mine. There's no delete. I don't know how to delete. Is this it? Oh, there it is. Fuck. Is that it? Wow. A lot of questions. So the the orientation. So now where could you place orders 15 minutes away from current price? So here's where you're at, and the market's done all this nonsense, and we've just finished here. And so what, for 15 minutes, based on how dramatic this move is, would you have orders here, sells and buys? And you have to experiment with this because you're going to say, well, why would I just randomly throw sell limits up here and buy limits down here? Maybe you just run buy limits. Maybe you're it's an uptrend, and you want to run trailing buy limits that last 15 minutes to half an hour. This makes sense. Now, you may not get filled. So I just edited a script just before the market closes. I experiment with different scripts. So I made one that's I was running it today at the coffee shop, and what it does is it buys at the market, and it puts a buy limit below, and it just keeps doing that. And the stop for this entry is, so here's your market order, and the stop is, say, here. And the stop for this buy limit is, say, I would go for a different price. I go deeper. So here's the stop for that. Market order. So here comes the price. Fills, or you buy at the market. You're long at the market, but the market keeps going. Can you imagine that? And they fill your limit. Now you're in a 2K. And this is the system, if anybody wants to know. You have these two stops, right? Or this is the concept of what I'm aiming at. This is schematic. of, you have to have a schematic of these orders. And if you wanted to add another buy limit, which I did on, I could, if the account grows, I just put another buy limit on. Now this buys at the market, and these are 15s. These are M15s. Somebody asked me where to change the time. It's in the script. You just rifle through and you'll see M15. And these would stay the same for the script. So here it comes, and they fill this one. They actually go deeper, but they do not stop you out. And this is critical. Now, how deep are these orders? How deep is your love? That's what a terrible drawing. Jesus Christ. We do that. What a mess. Buy at the market, we buy in a limit. And here's our stops. We have a stop here, and we've got a stop here. This guy is connected to, now it could go either way, but I think I'm going to go with that being connected to the, I'm going to take the market order. Typically, I'm thinking the way I would trade it is I buy at the market and I'm wrong, but that's okay because I'm going to add to my loser, and it's built into the script. So I buy at the market with a stop here, and this one buys on a limit with the stop connected here. And the take profit for this guy is going to say be maybe just to here. He's going to cover the cost of, and then or maybe he's going to tighten up the stop. It may be break-even order. But it's going to be, where do you place these guys? How many stops do you have? How many orders do you have? Maybe there's a buy limit here. So one at the market, and maybe it's going to be a compression buy limit, 3K. Now this, you could have a button like that. And you know exactly when you see the market dip and you've been getting stopped out every fucking time. Don't forget, you buy at the market. Okay, make a fat market order here. So here's the market, and they go lower. You're like, fuck. Now, do you start buying, adding to the loser on limits? Loser on limits. And I'm just doing angular. Now, as the market starts to simmer down now, and it does this, maybe you got buy stops above, but I'm going to tell you right now, not a good idea. Better to buy at the market on the clock. Down hard, just buy the fucking market. If you start running buy stops like this, the problem is, if the market starts to come back, these are terrible fills. You need to get in on limits. So you need to perceive. I'm just saying for myself, I don't want to get trapped coming back the other way. And sometimes it's okay for a couple tickets, but you'd have to have maybe 60% limits, 40% stops. I don't know how much punishment you want to take, because if they come up here and they just nick that, and depending how tight you run that, the problem with stop entry is you miss the best price. If this is a buy stop and here comes the market roaring down and you're running trailing buy stops that last 15 minutes. Okay, they can only last 15 minutes because that's a weird chart. The fuck? Here, let me do the price. Coming down. Never really drawn the market. So you got trailing buy stops. And every 15 minutes, right? These guys are, now they trapped you here. And but you should be selling at the market on rallies, or you have a trailing sell stop running when it goes up, right? Or you have a trailing sell stop the whole time and you're actually getting filled. The only problem there is any type of trap where they fill you in a sell stop and it comes back, then that's a new problem, right? I mean, I'm sure this has occurred to everybody. Some guy last night in the stream goes, yeah, of course. I mean, fucking duh. So there's no panacea. This is why multiple tickets is the answer. Multiple styles of entry is the answer. Stops are applicable sometimes. Like in other words, today, like I said, when the market was screaming up, I'm running sell stops underneath a ton, just like boom, boom. I'm like got my hand on the scalp keys. And what I'm doing is I'm running in sell scalps. So as soon as that thing cuts back, I'm cashing out of something because it is going to cut back so hard after a move like that. It's just going to be mind-boggling. Smashing up, 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 up. Now, maybe you're coming into a grid of limits, but I would add, now if I'm not in enough, I'm going to put that sell key. It's going to be putting sell stops in here, and you kind of have to pause and wait because as soon as this rushes back, it's not so bad you're getting trapped on some of these because it's such a violent pullback. Or you wait. Ideally, you wait every minute it goes up X amount of pips. You're putting in whatever you're ratcheting into it. So you're creating a ratcheting effect of stops underneath, and you kind of have to wait for this gust, this blast. And maybe you run a 1K 10 pips above on a hotkey, and you're going boom, and you wait, and I mean, literally, the market is going up. And don't forget, if you have a buy stop key, you could have a hedge key that just takes advantage of. I did it. I've done it. Okay, I did it with real money. The market's screaming up, and you're like, "Oh my God!" It's just blistering up or down, and every time or at the market, if you have a market order, you could chase it at the market because the whole time that market order is scripted to they fill you out, you fill you out, you fill you out. You're never gonna. You're just at the mercy of the server connection. Ideally, you've got buy stops stacking up here, sell stops here, and the market's meandering, and it breaks out, and it fills a clusterfuck of orders that are all scaled out. And I have the order, so when the news comes or London opens or something, it's okay to enter on stops if the market's really roaring. The problem is if the market's drifting around and it's just kind of like, well, anytime it's drifting around. If your stops are tight, it's okay when it's drifting around. So what I've been doing on the tablet is trading very tight stops. Laying in bed, just dicking around in Asia, putting stuff in there. And I'm amazed how tight a stop you can run in Asia. And boy, the end of the day today, man, you're talking 40 pips in 40 seconds, and market's just vibrating. I mean, just the close was just blistering. The end of the day today was blistering. And if you didn't have a trade plan for that, it was literally untrade. I mean, it's untradeable if you don't have. I can't imagine manually trading that. Like, there's no fucking way. Like, if you don't have your finger on a button, or you ready to double click stops or market orders here or pendings, and even knowing, like, I mean, most people, it's too disorientating. If you laid in algorithms, or what have you call them, matrix orders, and this presupposing your broker is going to take it. My broker wasn't letting me out of my winnings today, and maybe I have a problem with my double click on my tablet. Maybe I beat the tablet up or something. I'm double clicking and nothing's happening. But it's too much fun, and so it's easy to make money. When the market has a rhythm that matches, if you're babysitting and scalping, because it matches your rhythm and you're buy, sell. When the market goes off the rails or it's dead in the water, both scenarios are difficult. If there's a cadence that you're expecting, if there's a kind of a style of market that you trade, they're like, you know what? I prefer the market to be like pretty orderly, you know. Okay, you can range trade this. All right. But that's not going to go on forever. Next session opens and maybe this becomes the vacuum's informing, you can range trade that and then blammo. But it doesn't mean that you can't build a position in here in anticipation of one move or another and actually do that trade. The question is how to do that. Buy at the market, buy at the market, buy at the market, or are you going to put limits in and let those limits fill? Either way, it's the same kind of. Here you're babysitting, you're seeing it, or you set a price alarm for a price level. I'm going to try to do the price alarm this weekend. So it's going to call out the price. And 5 pips, right? Now, to make 5 and 10 pips, the market can just meander. And unless you're willing to trade every zigzag, and if you're willing to do that, you may not want to do it on Asia on the 5 minute because you're like, man, by the time I get in and out, it's like, why bother, right? And that's when you're really looking at the 4-hour charts going, oh my God. And then you can really see it. You kind of get this giddy feeling. The 4-hour chart, you're like, oh my God, look at this fucking setup. I mean, you really... It's obvious when the market gets quiet on the 4 hours, you've got 12 hours of small candles, something's going to happen. It's going to be brutal. Either direction. And what's the path of least resistance and where are we going? Right, somebody last night was talking about a flag. And so a pennant, a flag, whatever. Where's that puppy going to go after that? Now you can make all these you can do all the currency pairs, you know. Like for instance here, I've got every currency pair on here, I think. Look at this move today. So the dollar got obliterated. Look at the British pound. Same story, different currency. Every one of these currencies was at the abyss, at the borderline. A no-brainer. Here's the kickback, stop, hunt, blow your brains out. It's deeper here because this is the British pound. That's a 30 pip. I'm sorry, that's a is that 20 pips? Yeah. 20 pip, that's a 60 pip smash and grab. This is the 20 pip grid. 20 with something else inside that. 5 handles with a 20. And so this is a 60 pip raid zone. And this would be your 5 pip scalps and and really you only got filled here on what have you. But you could see this all happening. Here was the very quiet 4 hour. Something's got to give. This is the smallest bar. And it breaks out in both directions, but it really breaks out, then it really crushes back in and takes out this wick from, I think, the beginning of the week. Yeah, that's like Monday's low. So you knew there was you knew there was liquidity there, right? Like I say, you don't need to think about this too much. In this triangle, these prices back here really don't mean shit. You could make correlations there. Structural leaf clues is kind of pointless, really. Because what really matters is the last thing on here. The last known void. The last known new low. And this one too, you took out this low. This previous. And yeah, you can make all sorts of claims about this and the other thing, but that's really what it's about. Just like what's the most important high is the last known highs. So this one here, and if you had sell limits above that, no fill is this up here until here. Of course, they crush through, but you got to be aware of the vacuum that's above here. You're not going to be able to. Now here's where you just don't want to think that sellers are going to come in there, because you got to be really looking at what happened here. sellers came in here. And so this is what you usually get is that first break, pull back now. They pull back to the breakout point. So we're doing that in the streaming thing. Come back to the breakout point there. But here, see, they cut through. Not as good on, British pound is kind of, like I said, it's like a fucking mess. Like, I don't know who bothers trading this thing, honestly. Look at the daily. That's the daily. I guess that's not bad on the 4 hour. That was the daily. I thought that was the 4 hours. Like, man, this thing's a fucking mess. Yeah, here's the stop hunt. This is more easy to see. There's a floor here, and just before the rally, just like in the euro dollar, same story. Here was the stop hunt here. So you gotta see that coming. That's really the ultimate entry, is that floor, and the risk is low. And this is due for a pullback now. So that's definitely had it. That's straight up for 12 hours. Here's a 4-hour chart. That daily, that's why the daily looked all screwed. That's why it looked screwed up to me. And here's the Australian dollar, same thing. Just ripping the face off of the... so that's, dollar obliterated across the board. Every currency hit the dollar. Look at the weekly here. This is ripe for the selling up in here now. The sellers will be coming in up here like no problem. So we have some follow through here on next week. Just cut through maybe a few more pips here. But definitely it's going to be crazy. The sellers are going to come in, and they would probably, your target would be here. If you sold here, your target would be here. Last known, high, low. It's only the last known, in my opinion. Everything else is like, why bother, right? It's just too much. It's too much work. You just have to gauge how many tickets you're going to put in there. That's it. Just backward engineer it. New Zealand, amazing trend, right? On the 4 hour, since December, we've been drifting up. But it doesn't mean that you can't range trade this thing. Look at all this range trading here. Just really not going anywhere. This is a trend trader's nightmare. Right there. That's what you're looking at there. I do have a little cloud on this. Trailing vapor lock on that. Oh, that's not the candle. That's just like, I should turn that off. That's the underneath cloud there. So, yeah, the guppy. Look at this drama. And some guy in the, this guy Mood was buying the yen, but you had to get your targets. Look at this thing. Look how psychotic that was. They were trapped below here, but what the hell happened, right? Look at the drama here. Down here, buy, sell, new low. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. New low, rip up and golf, trap all these people, rip back the other way. Classic. New low. I mean, talk about range trading, for God's sakes. Amazing. So, but it's always, to me, it's always going to be about exploiting the range trading, because the trend doesn't really matter. That's not a trending market there. Here's a trending market, maybe. 1 hour chart going. This is your trend. Trend's over. Pretty hard to pick out trends in here. Here's the trend. Trend up, trend down. I guess that's the trend. So the anyways, that was kind of they shut down certain instruments here. So it's Frank on the weeklies pulling back down in here. What else? CAD. CAD's a mess. Look at this 1 hour CAD. Anybody trading dollar CAD? Yeah, you can be nuts. Here's a breakout. Like, you got to be in here. This is the only trade I see here is you're buying on limits here. You're buying at the market here when the market's quiet. Here's a little rally into the. It just looks too difficult. Here's the only good setup on this whole chart. Top bottom before the burst. Look at that hard up. Bam, news came out. That trade's over. It's almost there's nowhere to get really, in my opinion. I think it's just too thin of a market. Look at how vicious this move is. I guess on limits it would be okay. You got limits in here, but it's not that smooth a data. Look at the euro dollar. So look at the 4-hour euro dollar. Look how orderly that is. Comes down, goes up. A couple wicks. Goes down. An area higher. Just nice smooth. Maybe I'm distorting it. Here's a nice smooth run. I mean, we're missing a day here. Oh, that's Sunday. That's why that's all screwed up. Here's the 1 hour. Nice tight, burst out, tight, burst out. Look at that, selling up into the top. So I sold this at the market up there. Maybe I'm distorting reality. Look at this. New highs on... maybe I just think the euro's smoother because I trade it. It just looks so beautifully smooth here on the 15, man. I think dollar cat on the 15. I guess so on the 15 it looks smooth. Here's nice run. Say the 1 minute chart. That's the infamous guppy. That good old guppy. So yeah, that's it. I don't know where I went with that, but that's what I'm thinking. It's been a fun, bombastic, but I think the volatility is going to simmer down now. It'd be a little easier to trade now that the world's exploded. The currency markets have exploded. Because now you can get into maybe a 1 hour chart. I guess when next week comes, I don't know, it depends what you're trading, I think. It's just everything, it's all about volatility, because if you look at the euro dollar, for me, these tight area here, this is the last kind of buy. We pulled back here. So if you just trade, what you see, goes up, sell, goes down, buy. I guess that you could do that on this. So half hour, CAD. And that's my trade system, I suppose. Goes up, sell, goes down, buy. Goes nowhere. Maybe you don't do anything. You get filled here on limits. Goes up, sell, goes down, buy. Now, it doesn't go down fast and hard here. It's drifting down. Fast down, hard buy. This is kind of hard down buy. So buy. Then you make your money back. Because when it moves hard, this is a pretty hard move up. But you have, I mean, for me, being contrarian, I would say selling here and selling here. And on the 30-minute chart, so that's in 1 hour, you sold twice in 1 hour. And I guess you're looking at the bigger picture of where are you at, right? Sell. Look at this, hard up, half hour, sell. No brainer. Sell something. So having this key that is a swing trade, and you can leg into something. And just do what the market's telling you to do. If the market's quiet, I usually will build a position for a blast out of this small zone. That to me seems like a no-brainer trade. it's a little bit difficult mentally because you're like, the market's not going anywhere. What the fuck? What? But uh, after it's moved, it's too late. So you just don't want to overload, and you do want to scalp as much as you can because there's not many great moves in the market. So you can pad the account, just keep building the account. Then this way, when a big blast is going to come on the 4 hour, then you can blow some money on these goober entries, these retail stop entries, which they're gonna be fine because if you do the math right, if you buy stop, sell stop, market's dicking around, and you can afford this much risk, there'd be default entries, or it's just pure buy stops, right? The market came down and it's treading, it goes down hard, it's sticking around here, and you got some terrible entries. Buy stops, but these are small tickets. There's not a lot of them, and that's got kind of a risk profile on it. But intermingled there, you still want to drop these mystery trolling buy limits. You still want to have these buy limits trolling because you'll make more money probably off your limits than you'll ever make off a stop entry like this. But it's not to say that it's not like when the market explodes like that, and you can have an array of orders that have kind of anywhere from a 20 to a 10 pip stop to make 50, 60 pips on these insane bursts, you'll make up for it. If you have to place those either double click or by hand, the market explodes, they clean up. And that's how I've been making money on these explosions, because you just have to go, oh, you know what? This thing's going to pop. And you can have, in case you don't know the direction, this is when you'd put on a hedge. And rarely, these trades don't happen very often, but when they do, my God, it's a hell of a lot of money. It's very quick money. That is a certain scenario. That is a certain kind of setup or a situation that appears. And it happens in small ways, but when it really happens big and you go into these huge voids, we just filled this vacuum on the euro. And basically every currency just beat the fuck out of the dollar, so they all went through in the new on fresh water. And that was bound to happen, right? Gold's up, crude's up, dollar's fucked. This is just, but it's not so. It's not. It's just people would say, well, you could say it's a delayed reaction. Inflation's finally here. Whatever it is, to me, it's just that you break through on fresh levels on the into uncharted water on the charts. There is every currency pair you look at. Look at the big picture of the monthlies. There's holes still to be filled on certain things. I mean, if the yen ever goes through the top, so the yen, right? The yen, what's the story in the yen? Well, the yen is, it looks like it's going down now, but it's just, I guess it's forming a triangle to some degree. It's quiet. It's getting very quiet. But who cares what the big picture is? I mean, what is it? I mean, it's fun to speculate, but how would you even trade this thing? Well, it looks like they're going to go after this low here. Like, this will be a big giant. If they take out this wick, this is going to sell off hard. That's going to tank. Okay, it's just all there is to it. Now they'll flirt with this level, but you watch that level on the tick chart, and it'll blow your mind, because once they breach this bid, Katie bar the door. So they're sitting there at 110.86 something. Okay, no. Get this dialed in. 84, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Whatever it is. It's very close to that. And on the weekly, it's right here. We're really close. And this is going to be, the euro keeps going up. Maybe they crush this thing. Dollar CAD. Dollar CAD's back kind of like to the buy zone a little bit. It's kind of dipping down a little bit there. But it's just ranging. It's an amazing ranging market. What else we got here? We got the... okay, let's see. Who else? Dollar Swiss. Dollar Swiss in the big picture there. So it's just meandering. It's not going anywhere. It does look at the dollar's getting its ass kicked a little bit, but came down maybe. But look at all this ranging. It's trend traders. Just, where's the trend? There's no trend. There's literally no trend here. Let's not forget the famous depegging here. This is no slouch here. Is this depegging here? That's no slouch. I can't remember which one it is. This one or that one. There's been a couple. There's been a couple of brutalizations of this thing, and yeah, this is it. This is a whole nother story. No, that's right. 2014. Yeah, this is just as brutal, I think, if not more. I talked about this one before. I think when this one came out, and I talked about this. This is really quite the obliteration of the dollar. 70 cents to the Swiss. So yeah, that's it. Alrighty then. So Sunday night, we see. Start to let the markets open up, and we're sitting right at the big round number, $1.22, and there'll be a bunch of hemming and hawing and a bunch of buys and sells next week.